welcome back to Project Rubicon. Today I'm going to be covering my favorite magazines for AR-15s. I'll walk you through the couple different options that I typically use when I'm going to the range, why I like them, and maybe some of the differences and features that they each have. The first one that I'll get into should be familiar to most of you, but it's the Magpul magazines. So typically when you buy a AR or sporting rifle, you'll get one of these with it. It's just standard black 30 round PMag designed for 5.56 ammunition. And these things are solid. They're made of a polymer material that's specific to Magpul. Super lightweight, super durable. I've had minimal to no issues with these over the course of time that I've owned them. I have a ton of these, so kind of swap them out and interchange them as needed. But yeah, again, they're widely adopted, widely used by the military, widely used by police, federal law enforcement agencies, etc., and obviously are extremely common among those people who just recreationally shoot. So if you can get these, definitely get them. I think on most websites they're about $10 to $12, so fairly inexpensive. And again, like I said, if you buy a gun, it'll typically come with one of these anyway, as long as your state permits it. This one is one of their second generation magazines, which is kind of denoted there on the back side of it. And between this magazine and one of the newer third generation ones here, which this is kind of like a desert sand color, as you can see side by side, there's not a ton of difference between the two of them. So both still have the 30 round capacity. And this just has this texture here is a little bit more prominent, and at the bottom it has this little bit of stippling here, but otherwise it's fairly similar. So either one of these is fine. Again, there's not a big price difference between the two of them. So they definitely have some cool colors, and so like I said, if you want really good reliability with AR-15 mags, these are obviously a great place to start. They do have some other options too, which I have a couple of these. This is also a third generation. This is a second generation. But this has the window pane, so as you load the rounds in, you can see them through the window here, and then it has the number of rounds, 5, 15, 25, to get you up to 30. These typically wouldn't recommend putting 30 rounds in these, just because under tension it can lead to malfunction sometimes, but that's really the only thing with this. And again, I think the window pane is functional, obviously, but more of a nice to have. So otherwise, these two either or will work perfectly fine for most of your needs. So those are my favorite polymer magazines. The one other thing that I'll highlight with these, though, to not do if you're going to keep them loaded and under tension over a long period of time, as you can see, it has the plastic follower here, but these sections are also polymer and there's no metal on the inside of it. So if you are going to leave it under tension for a long period of time, make sure to swap these out and rotate them if you have more than one, because over time, as opposed to like a metal magazine, this polymer can deform and kind of break down. That would probably take a while, but still something to be considerate of. When you get these two, they come with a clip that fits over the top, which takes some of the tension off of the spring. Most people, that aren't as familiar, or like me who just erroneously threw them away, don't have them. So if I'm going to leave any of these loaded again, I'll do it for several months, and then I'll swap it out with one of my other magazines that I have. So that covers Magpul for 30 round magazines. The one other thing, especially if you're going to be shooting like a AR-10 or anything at distance where you're doing bench rest shooting, I would recommend picking up a few 10 round magazines too. This is a third generation 10 round PMag, but same cartridge, 5.56. This makes it a little bit easier, I think, in some cases when you're, again, bench rest shooting, really trying to get under the gun, and you don't want the 30 round magazine kind of knocking off the bench rest or whatever. So I do have several of these that I also will just keep in my bag. They're obviously fairly slim and compact, so they're easy to store. But you know, if you're not going to be shooting a large volume of rounds, these are definitely good to have on hand as well. So outside of Magpul, what else do I use? So I also do have a lot of metal magazines or aluminum mags that I rotate through as well. One of the big ones that I am actually a pretty big fan of are these. These are the Palmetto State Armory 30 round aluminum mags. A lot of these are fairly basic design wise. You know, they have a lot of these will have kind of like a Teflon coating over them just to protect it, but they're pretty lightweight, pretty simple design. Again, I think if you get these on Palmetto State Armory's site, you can pick them up, especially when they're having sales for like $8 or $9. So they're actually a really good value. And again, I've had minimal to no issues with these. So, you know, they're great, and I have a bunch of them. Again, just plastic follower, but this is metal, so if I leave it under tension for a little while, I'm a little bit less concerned about it. So these are something to definitely look out for. The one thing with these, they only, I think from what I've seen, come in black. Not a big deal, obviously, but I've had a hard time finding these in other colors. But yeah, no real issue with this. The one thing with these, though, that I will note, and I think this is somewhat dependent on the gun that you're using or even the buffer spring that you have in your firearm, these tend to rattle or create kind of a ringing noise if you're shooting it, which again is not a big deal, but this compared to the Magpul magazines, I've noticed that this does not have that issue, and it's obviously due to the fact that this housing is metal instead of polymer, so it creates a little bit of vibration and ring to it. But again, not a big deal, just something to throw out there for consideration. So that's Magpul, Palmetto State Armory. The last mags that I use quite a bit are these, which are Duramag. So these are, I think, Duramag Speed, which I don't know if that's the name of the magazine itself or not, but regardless, this is a similar construction to the PSA mag, at least from my perspective. I mean, the only real difference with this, if you look along the back side, looks like there's a little bit of like riveting on the back, but otherwise, again, very, very similar and consistent. These are also a similar price point. They're, I think, $8 to $12, depending on where you go. You can find them on most gun websites, and also if you go to your like local gun shows and stuff, there'll probably be multiple vendors selling them. But again, I haven't had a lot of issues with these. I've heard some people and read some stuff online that sometimes people have malfunctions and things, but shooting slow and quicker, I haven't really had any problems with them. These have a black plastic follower instead of the gray ones like with Magpul and PSA, but the other kind of couple benefits to these that I like, these are also made in the USA, which is great, and they also do have a lot more colors, which is obviously cosmetic, not functional, but they're much easier to find, black, gray, green, burgundy. Like, they have a lot of different stuff out there. So if you're looking for some differentiation with your magazines, this is a good route to go. Sometimes I'll do that if I have like green tips in one mag and then, just normal range ammo in another, just so I know what's what. But either way, these are also a great option to look into. This is not to knock any other brands necessarily. I haven't used like HexMag or some of the other ones that are out there a whole lot, so I can't really comment on those in terms of their reliability shooting, but this is what works well for me. So if you are in the market for new magazines, definitely look around, get one of them, test it out, see if you like it. But overall, been very happy with the magazines that I have. So, again, for newer shooters, I hope this is helpful in terms of exploring what options are out there and helping you make informed purchases about whatever magazine you get for your AR-15. So for those of you watching, I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.